Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. And for this week's episode, Megan and I thought it'd be fun to hop back onto Reddit, this time exploring a subreddit we don't go on too often. We've done it a few times.
I honestly was like, I went this morning and looked back. I was like, it's maybe been a little bit since we've done one, but then I looked again. If we've only done 3, the last one was over a year ago.
Really?
So unless there's a 4th one that didn't pop up when I was searching.
So we're going on the No Stupid Questions subreddit, which is exactly what it sounds like. People just have a question that they want answered, and it's supposed to be a judgment-free zone.
Judgment. We'll see if we judge them or not.
Yeah. Some of it's just questions that maybe we would also want to know the answers to. Some of it might be questions that we found that we feel like we could provide answers to. And we just think it's a fun episode to just kind of go down a rabbit hole to talk about anything and everything.
Before we do that, of course, we need to do our weekly spotlights as well as any general catch up, and then of course our book updates. So I'll go ahead and get started with my weekly spotlight, which is that I think I'll do our craft night that we did yesterday.
That's a good one.
We are continuing to get pretty frequent with our craft nights, at least once a month, but sometimes we're trying to do a little bit more often because some people want to do a little bit more crafting. I'm in the midst of I'm between projects right now. My project of choice is crochet, and I had started a blanket yesterday, and then I realized it just wasn't turning out very good with how it was starting. So I kept starting it over, and then it got to a point where it was I was going to have to start involving a second color, and then it told me to do a moss stitch of some kind, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not doing that. I've never heard of that before. So I just discontinued, and
Back to the drawing board.
I'll find a different project. To be honest, what I'm realizing, I might do a tote of some kind and then stitch it where you keep going and going around, because I did that with my Kindle case and that was fine. But I also have realized that the granny square projects are really quite nice in the sense that you can focus on kind of one thing at a time, and then you focus on the assembly later. So I'm still kind of picking through. I have a bag that I think would be cute to do. So maybe that'll be my next project, but we'll see. I need to get different yarn, I think, because I'm starting to learn the difference between acrylic yarn and cotton yarn are kind of the two popular ones. Cotton seems to be the preferred choice with things that are supposed to be bags or coasters or a little bit more sturdy. And my last bag I did with acrylic yarn, which is fine. It's not I haven't decided what I'm using that bag for, if anything. But I do think I need to go get new yarn. So,
You've
that's
got a lot of
my
yarn
update.
in your backlog. But
just
that's
a lot
good.
of, I have a lot of yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was working on my book journal yesterday during craft night. Also, I must say, we had the Eras tour on in the background, perfect little craft night ambiance.
Maggie was about to convince me to go to Indianapolis this weekend for the Eras tour. But we looked at ticket prices. We looked at ticket prices, and it's kind of could I buy a ticket physically and over the internet, whatever terminology you want to use, I could purchase and own a ticket. Okay,
you have the financial resources.
The funds are there
so.
to do it. They're $1,600 right now, but it's kind of and then you have to I'd probably get a plane ticket because I'm probably not driving, and then we need a hotel to stay at.
It would be a costly endeavor. You don't even have an outfit.
I have to get an outfit, and trust me, you guys, I go back and forth with the Eras tour is going to end, and I'm probably not going to have gone.
And then I'm content having seen the movie. I don't feel I need to see it in person.
I feel at the end of the day, I will be fine, but it's kind of it's one of those things where it's you decide you're not going, and then it's gonna be done, and there is no going back on it. So in that sense, it is kind of a once in a lifetime type of thing. But I haven't purchased a ticket. I'm probably not going to, but we were looking, and so therefore we decided to put the Eras tour on the TV to satiate ourselves a little bit.
I worked on 2 spreads in my book journal, which honestly was probably I don't pull it out as often as I did when I first got it. And I feel last time we had our craft night, I pulled it out, but I was I don't know what to do. I didn't really do anything because I was what do I want my spread to be? I don't even know. And I feel this time I was okay, just literally make anything. Do literally anything. So I made a spread for the Ministry of Time. I thought it turned out pretty cute. And then I also made a new alphabet challenge spread, which is basically just a spread for you to write down like a book that starts with each letter of the alphabet. I'm not doing it with books that I've already read except for the book that I just finished. And then like from here on out, every book that I read could count for the challenge. And it's just a fun thing it's easy enough to make in my spread. So,
Do you have a weekly spotlight?
my weekly spotlight is also a little bit of a life update for you guys.
Drum roll, please.
I am now in a relationship. So,
Jaws drop everywhere.
So I've been seeing my now boyfriend for like 2 months, and we became official this past weekend. And I do apologize to you guys. Because I did say at some point when I still like had not met him, we met on Hinge. I intended to like keep the people in the know for like dates and stuff that you or I would go on. I think we had both kind of mentioned that.
I'm not keeping anything from you guys, so I will say that.
Like
I am just saying like right now, I actually don't know how I would progress if and when this maybe happens to me.
Well, like he like by our first date like already knew about the podcast and like still listens to the episodes, and I was like, I'm not gonna talk about him
To him.
like while he's listening when I haven't like, you know, I don't know where this is going. So that's why I didn't talk to you guys about it. And then now that we are officially dating, I feel that you guys can be in the know. I still haven't decided to like what extent I will or will not share stuff. Probably starting off not sharing much, and then we'll see. And that is my update.
Okay. Book updates. Anything else you wanted to share, like just life update wise? The Hawkeyes suck. Football's terrible.
Yeah. Iowa State fans listening are rejoicing. They're 7-0.
We roll our eyes.
Life updates otherwise, I don't think we've got much to share. Just loving life right now.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's do a book update quick, and then we'll go into the rest of the episode. I am reading Powerful, which I maybe was reading last week. I'm not quite sure when I started it. It's been like I'm slowly trekking up this hill of like this theoretical reading slump. It's more so like not like a slump. I just have not been on my game with like reading as consistently as I had been before. But I'm currently reading Powerful by Lauren Roberts, and I do plan on finishing it today. I think I have less than an hour left in the book, so I see no reason why I should not. It's the novella in the what will be the Powerless trilogy. Is there like a technical name for it besides Powerless? Like the trilogy name?
I don't think so.
I'm enjoying it. Kind of like Ciera when she was reading it. I had like really no inclination to read this book prior, but I am quite enjoying it, and it's gonna make me sad. I feel like knowing what I know is bound to happen. But I am enjoying it, and I'll probably be sad when I finish it tonight. We'll see. And then I almost was kind of like, should I like go straight into Reckless from this? Like it almost feels kind of, but then I was like, you were gonna read it, so I don't want to steal the book from you.
Read like a novella. I think I was gonna read like the Crowns of Nyaxia novella after I finish the book that I am reading.
So I kind of just feel like maybe I just like keep on going through.
Like while you're already in the world. That'd be smart.
So that might be I might read Reckless next, which would be good because we have a copy of it. And yeah, that'd be good. What else? Anything else that I've been like wanting to talk about book wise? I was trying to go to Barnes & Noble to get the third book in the Sacred Stones trilogy, which is called Reign of Roses or A Reign of Rose or something of that nature. And I'm someone who I like to hunt for my books in the store. I don't want to ask anyone for help. I was low-key kind of like, I don't need to buy another book. I was like, I could hold off. There are plenty of other books for me to buy.
Like if fate
and
shines
so
down upon me.
I let fate take the reins, the Reign of Roses,
if you will.
And I was like, if I find the book, I'll get it. If I can't find the book, then I won't get it. I found the rest. I looked at Barnes & Noble online because I'm not going to just search for if it's not there. So after a while when I couldn't find it where I thought it should be, and I did my general rounds of the tables, I was like, where the heck is it? Do they even have it in stock? I look online. It says they have it in stock. I continue looking around. I can't find it anywhere. So I took it to mean that I was not meant to purchase that book yet. So I'll get back around to it. That's really one of the only books higher up on my list / like new release wise. Is there anything else that's just come out that we've
Nothing
forgotten
that's just
about?
come out, but like Emily Henry's next book, A Great Big Beautiful Life, the cover was revealed. I think it's very cute.
I also feel like the synopsis is interesting. I feel like it's going to be like
I've already
fun
seen people
and different.
saying it's giving like book lovers X Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. And I think it'll be interesting to have like a third prominent character within like the romance. Like I feel like it'll lean more literary fiction with a subplot of romance, which I feel like Emily Henry does very well anyways. So I'm excited. My book update. I am currently reading The Unmaking of June Farrow. I feel like I'll finish it probably not today. Maybe tomorrow. We have book club tomorrow, so I don't know how much free time that will give me. Certainly during this week, I think. I'm enjoying it. There's like, it's like time bendy kind of, and so like my mind's just kind of trying to like keep up and catch up with like what is going on or like what the plot twist might be. Because it's like I'm trying to think of a movie.
I need to think of a book
like,
for book club tomorrow.
Me too. You know, like in Interstellar when it's like all time bendy and like different timelines and stuff. It's kind of giving that, and so I'm like curious to see how the timelines
more or less
intersect.
Confusing than like Blake Crouch books.
I wouldn't say it's confusing right now. Like
Okay.
I think I know how the timelines are adding up, but I just need like confirmation for it to get there. Blake Crouch was confusing.
His can be
But
confusing.
But confusing.
Okay. Shall we?
We shall. I can pull some up first. First one that I have is, did anyone else grow up learning that if you were sick, you threw up in a trash can, not a toilet or bowl? And I feel like this was, we can provide our thoughts.
It really depends on how you grow up. Because then, like, you're simply, like, you're used to doing what you're used to doing. And so any other way that people do it, you're kind of like, that's incorrect. We grew up in a household where it was popcorn bowl. Okay?
Yeah, we were a bowl family.
A bowl. Here's the reason. And this is why I will say now,
toilet does make sense.
Right. And I'm trying to think of like last time I was sick, which unfortunately was like sometime this year. I got sick over the summer, I think it was. What did I use?
I used a bowl.
I think I used a trash can.
The first time,
like a trash can, just like with its own garbage
I feel like
bag
trash
in it.
can and bowl can be like interchangeable.
Yeah. But I was by the toilet.
Yeah. For multiple reasons, though.
I know. It was rough.
The first time that I threw up, I was outside, so I didn't have anything. And that was weird.
The reason growing up we were like a popcorn bowl family, I feel like for me personally, when I'm sick, at least when I was younger, I wanted to be in bed. And like I didn't want to lay on the floor by the toilet. Granted, this last time, like that's what I was doing. So maybe I've changed in that regard. But like I wanted to escape the torment that my body was under with feeling sick by falling asleep. The only way I was going to be able to do that was in the comfort of my own bed. I need a portable option then. So it needs to come to me. Toilet's not an option. I need something that's going to come with me to my bed. So that leaves like a trash can or a bowl. And we just always were a bowl family.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, because what I would do specifically, we had like this stainless steel popcorn bowl that like was cold, which felt nice. Like I would like literally like lay my face like in the popcorn bowl.
You're like laying sideways.
Yeah.
It's there if you need it.
I'm like, I could literally throw up right now
reposition.
and like it would be fine. Like that's what gave me comfort. Granted, now that I'm older, I do agree like toilet probably makes the most sense, but I don't want to sit in the bathroom. Like I feel like honestly, sorry if this is gross for you guys, like it depends on how fast it's like coming on. Like if you're like, I'm gonna throw up right now and you can get to the toilet, or like you can wait in the toilet and be like, I'll probably throw up in the next like 5 minutes, and like that's it. But if I'm like just laying in pain waiting, I don't want to sit on the bathroom floor for an hour.
Yeah.
So then
I don't feel like there's a right or wrong. I just like bowl is kind of close to my heart. So yeah. I give that one extra points. But like I understand toilet, you just can flush and then like move on. Okay, I guess it's my turn, huh?
Some people are saying toilet was always the first choice. We did a trash can because typically every room had one and they could be moved next to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was a clean freak, so yes, the toilet was gross, but it was clean most of the time. That doesn't really make sense. Never ever a bowl or trash can, only the toilet. Never even heard of people puking into bowls until I read it. Well,
Now you have. Okay, how long will it take for drones to completely replace fireworks at commercial events? I'm honestly, you guys, like, I am so unimpressed with, like, just aerial
light shows.
Aerial light shows. I am not really a big fan of fireworks. I did watch the fireworks show on the 4th of July just because, like, it's what are you
there.
gonna do? Okay,
I'm
just ignore
inside
it
at 10 p.m. and they're going off. I might as well look.
So in
But
that
it
regard,
honestly-
I'm kind of like, I lived the fireworks show by counting down until the end of the fireworks show. Which, what does that say about me?
What life is that? It was honestly a tradition of mine for a while because we'd like go up to Clear Lake, we'd go on the boat, and like I would quite literally, like, my mission was to like take a nap during the fireworks show. Like I would lay out on the floor of the boat, have some blankets, have a pillow, and my objective was to sleep. And I don't do that anymore. But like that just goes to show that I clearly did not care much about fireworks. And it's like Megan said, we kind of just look at my invisible watch. What time is it? I think the show's about a half hour. We got 2 more minutes.
So then I can
like,
say
what are we
I did
doing?
my
I
due
don't know.
diligence and then go inside. I'm also just like, Iowa for the longest time, it was illegal to buy fireworks. So if you wanted fireworks, you'd have to like cross state lines and then bring them back. And then it's still technically illegal to set them off. But it's like within, I don't know, the past 5 years or whatever, like they are legal now. I've never had any interest, and our family really hasn't had any interest either in like
I'm glad that our
purchasing,
family
setting
is
off
like
fireworks.
not a firework family.
Here's the thing. I mean, if people think they're fun, there's the pro for them. But like so many cons, because like they could be so dangerous, especially it always makes me nervous when like families with like young kids are doing them, and like half the time I feel like that's the situation because they're trying to entertain the young kids. And it's just like you hear stories of like people needing to go to the ER because they like blow their freaking hand off or whatever else. So I've just always been very like, I don't want to be involved in that. That being said, I feel like the drone displays are cooler in the sense that you can like, they're a little bit more specific and you can make them do
Pictures or
more
images
things.
or words.
Maybe they can even like put it to music, make it a little interesting.
They're also, I'm sure, safer.
But it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, I feel like now
What's
that
more
we're
expensive though? You know what I mean? My theory would be, this is me not knowing the price of literally anything. My theory would be that fireworks will be the go-to so long as they are cheaper. And then when drones are less expensive, then they would be the go-to.
I feel like, depending on what it's used for, it could kind of be like, oh, this is the investment to then get rid of costs of doing like fireworks you have to buy every year. Drones, you don't.
What's the upkeep of a drone?
I have no idea. But your point to answer the question is probably fair. It really depends on like
and like also, here's the other thing we have to think about is like sometimes firework displays are meant to be like quick, snappy, like that's it. Like when you think of a football game, oh, we got our first touchdown, like the fireworks go off, boom, it's over.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
The Wells Fargo Center is now going to be renamed to the Casey's Center or Arena.
I was like, our arena? I don't like that.
I don't either.
It's gonna be like the Sears Tower
and
situation,
no one's gonna call it that,
where everyone's like, it's the Willis Tower. No, it's the Sears Tower. Interesting. Okay. Back to my point. So like in that sense, like you couldn't get, I don't think, drones up fast enough to like touchdown. No, you know what I mean?
They wouldn't be used for that.
So
it'd have to be like a show of some kind.
And like how often do we have fireworks shows? Like,
are we ever gonna get around to doing like a 4th of July?
To be fair,
drone show?
Iowa State at their most recent football game, they just had a drone show.
But like
during halftime.
Fireworks shows are really only done for the 4th of July. Like name whenever. So do you think that like we're
Probably
going to get to a
other countries.
point? Do you think we get to a point where it's like, okay, instead of the 4th of July fireworks show, we're going to go do the 4th of July drone show.
I bet so.
Okay.
Like, I think they'll have, like, an American flag, like,
Yeah.
drone. They'll, like, literally have, like, the signing of the Constitution. They'll go crazy with it.
It'll be animated Hamilton the Musical
There you go.
drone show.
Okay. Next one I have. Does the young generation now really use their phones more often than their computers or laptops for recreation? For instance, if they're chilling at home browsing Reddit, are they on their phones more often than their computers? This was an interesting one to me because I feel like we are at the cusp of, like, you know who they're talking about? I would guess people that are younger than us, like high schoolers and middle schoolers, like they're on their phones constantly. I am still very much like a laptop person. Like if I'm relaxing and like I want to do like my browsing or whatever, like I need a computer.
I have preferred, like depending on the medium I'm enjoying, I have a preferred device that I like to use. So that's kind of how I go about doing it. TikTok's obviously on my phone. I'm not doing that anywhere else. Instagram and Twitter is on my phone. I prefer YouTube videos to be on my laptop or on the TV, honestly. And what else do I use for
Pinterest?
Honestly, the iPad. I will use my laptop too, but I don't love to do that on my phone. The iPad's low-key like the best though. I need to use it more. And then, so it kind of just depends.
Like, what about your like when you're online browsing? Like shopping? Computer.
Oh, it has to be computer.
Has to be computer.
I did just get...
I need tabs. Like easily accessible tabs. I think that's my issue. Like when I'm on the internet and not just like an app, I know you have tabs. I'm literally using Reddit on my phone with different tabs, but like it's such a hassle to like...
See, I was kind of like...
go back and forth.
Well, you did this on your... You found them on your computer, didn't you?
These?
Yeah.
No, on my phone. My computer's dead.
Oh.
I went to my computer first.
I gotta charge my iPad for this because I'm trying to... The phone just seemed like too little. I just was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not loving it.
But I'm trying with this new setup to like not have my laptop blocking half my body. Okay. So honestly, I feel like mine depends on like what I want to do for the evening. And then that kind of decides like what I'm pulling out.
Unfortunately, I'm a 3-screen person. So like it's not just like, oh, I only use this. I'm probably using all 3. I'm probably TV pulled up, computer browsing something on my phone also. Like it's not, I'm not saying I'm one or the other.
It's all 3.
Okay. Someone said I'm on a desktop computer all day at work, but I go months at a time without touching my personal laptop.
That's crazy. But like I would have thought that was crazy about like me not touching my iPad like when I was in school. Like the idea of like going months without touching it would have been actually insane.
No, literally.
And yet here I am. I'm trying to like appreciate it again though.
Someone said, my phone is for fun, mindless relaxation. Laptop is for job hunting, writing, creating content, and other miscellaneous adult tasks.
Okay.
It's also
saw this
sorry,
question.
If I'm going to be doing a lot of
We're not moving
typing,
on.
hold on. If we're going to be doing a lot of typing, like I need a keyboard. That was my other thought.
We saw this question. Ciera was looking over my shoulder when I was picking these out, and we felt equipped to answer or at least share our thoughts. So, this is why do some elderly people end up in a nursing home while others do not? Ciera and I both work in a nursing home. So we thought we would share our thoughts, and we're physical therapists. So one major reason could definitely be if someone is cognitively impaired or has dementia. That kind of becomes like as their dementia progresses, like that becomes a decision that like their POA or caregivers are going to make, because there are some people who do decide to like work with them at home, especially like, the physicality of it kind of like also depends. There are some very physically capable and able-bodied people who also have dementia, and so they maybe can do fairly well at home, but there is a caveat to that. They might be more of an elopement risk, or they might be able to get out of the house. Then you run the risk of like, what if they get out of the house and like
get lost, get injured?
So that could be a challenge.
Sometimes their dementia gets so bad that even though they're cognitively intact and able-bodied, like Megan had said, they lack the skills. Is that what I mean?
You said they have dementia, but they're cognitively intact. So I was just like, they're probably not.
Okay. I don't know what I was trying to say.
Physically intact.
Maybe. like they lack the sequencing and processing of like the day-to-day
so
things
it's like
that they
even
need to
though
do.
maybe one of 5 tries they could stand up independently on their own, if it takes you 5-10 minutes to like cue them in the correct way to get them to do that, like that's going to be a lot of work and hard for a caregiver to manage at home.
Or saying like they don't remember to brush their teeth, so now you're either telling them to brush their teeth every time, or like they don't remember to go to the bathroom, they become incontinent, just because they literally don't think about going to the bathroom. So then you have to like take care of them and lead them to the bathroom, help them get changed. Maybe you have to help them get dressed in the morning because they can't remember how to put their shirt on. Like it's these little things that can add up to even people that are physically capable that their caregivers and family like take on as a burden. And it's quite literally up to every single family member, like, and whoever's job it is to take care of this person to decide what they are capable or not capable of doing.
And sometimes like oftentimes like something to bridge the gaps, and people will hire caregivers to come in to kind of assist with that. But like dementia is definitely like one major reason people are going to end up in a nursing home versus not. The other could be like just decreased ability to take care of yourself for whatever reason that might be. It could be because of disease, which has led you to becoming like just less mobile and less healthy, and now you're needing care with stuff. It could just be, I mean, people get less physically active as they get older depending on their lifestyle.
People fall a lot at home. Maybe it's they just need someone quite literally with them every time they get up and move.
Right. Yeah. So those are the main things.
Yeah. I feel like having obviously like nursing homes can be great and they're needed, but I'm very happy that like all of our grandparents to this point, like none of them have needed a nursing home, and like 2 of them who have passed away, like they got to do that like at home, or like they were living at home, you know, until they passed.
Right.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Definitely like it gives us perspective, I think, just to like recognize, obviously dementia is not something you can control. But it certainly emphasizes the importance of like just trying to do as much as you can within your power to like stay active and like physically be able to take care of yourself in order to avoid having to go down that path once you're older. But it's needed for some people, and that's perfectly fine too.
So the title of this one is, was it fair of me to block a Tinder match after he refused to have our first date in public? I spent 2 weeks of my life chatting with this one guy on Tinder. I told him early on that I wasn't looking for anything short term. He said fine and kept chatting with me. But then for our first date, he wanted to come over to my apartment to quote unquote watch a movie. After I told him I wasn't comfortable with that and would prefer a public place, he canceled the whole date and started ignoring me. He said he's too awkward to go on a date in public. Like what? Was it a fair thing to block this guy? He seemed so nice, but I guess people can lie to get what they want. I more so wanted to say, why do you care?
My first thought is like, you didn't have to block him. It seemed like you guys just stopped
you could
talking
just stop
and then like
or unmatched him.
I've had the same thing come up where like I've matched with someone and we're chatting and then like something of like a movie comes up and then it's kind of like, oh, like you should come watch it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that for like a first date.
Yeah.
And like I say it in like a nice way possible, as nice of a way as I possibly can, where I'm kind of like, I'm preferring to like do something in public. And like the guy that I was talking to at the time like responded fine and okay with that. I don't remember if we like talked much more after that or not, but yeah, I didn't have to block him. I just
fades out.
It just fades out if that's what happens.
I feel like what's obviously whatever a guy's intentions are, like that's partially related to the question of like, you know, does he care about going on a date or not, or is he like just looking to hook up? Then like that's something you need to dissect. But I feel like some guys like just need to recognize that like women dating online are worried about their safety and would at the very least like to vet you for the first time in a public setting where there are other people. And so that should not be too much of an ask.
Yeah.
So, and I just watched Woman of the Hour on Netflix. And that, it's not even like, the guy wasn't even trying to like date these women. He was pretending to be, this was based off a true story, like an actual serial killer. But he would like take these women claiming to be a photographer out to like a desolate area to take their photos, and then he would kill them. And it's like, don't go somewhere with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys gotta watch out for yourselves.
Why do people stay in Airbnbs instead of hotels given all the complaints? I definitely feel like as a society, we are shifting more and more back towards hotels and less towards Airbnbs. I will say personally, I look at both when I'm like traveling now usually because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get as good of a deal as I possibly can. And having a credit card has also helped a little bit in terms of like, I want to use my credit card points. I can't do that with Airbnb. So I've stayed in hotels a couple times to make use of my credit card points. I feel like Airbnbs can still offer like a more unique and private place to stay if that's what you're trying to prioritize. And if you have like a large group of people, I do still feel like they're the better option. But other than that, like they give you so many fees now that, and sometimes like the comfort of a hotel sometimes like can't be beat. You know it's going to be clean. Depending on the vacation you're doing, like if you're doing a resort, like you could have all sorts of amenities that you maybe wouldn't have at an Airbnb. Like I gotta say, because when we just traveled to Catalina, we stayed in hotels. One we stayed on Catalina Island, and then like the hotel we stayed at before we went back to the airport the next day, I was just like,
so stunning.
This is peak hotel, and it's not a resort or anything, but like it was just like such a nice normal
I
hotel.
wish we had more than like we got there at like 11 p.m. and we had to wake up at that night
5 or 6
They gave us,
a.m.
we already told you about this in our vlog, but like they gave us cookies when we checked in. Like
Yeah.
there was a like yoga room, like
Like,
that was not part of the gym. It was
I just
like,
really
wow.
wish we had time to explore. I was like, this is what a hotel is supposed to be like. And Airbnb doesn't have that. But I mean, also depends on like, you could stay at like a mansion on Airbnb if you wanted to. So I just think you like have to figure out what works best for the stay. And there's going to be like one that suits you better.
I agree. Okay. Next one I have is, should I not be at home without a bra on? I woke up and started cleaning my bathroom. I had on a shirt but no bra. My husband told me that I need to put a bra on. My kids are also in the home. They're 17, 15, and 12.
It's your house.
I brought up because I was like, this I feel like it ties back to when we talked about people's naked culture in their homes. And I feel like it's directly related to that.
If you don't know what we're talking about.
Well, do you need to like backtrack? There was I think it was on TikTok that I saw it. Someone was like posing this, I don't know if it was a question or like they just had the thought that like if like it should not be weird to like walk around your house in like a bra and underwear. And it was like talking about like around your dad. That was like how people were wording it. And everyone's like, yeah, I agree. Like if you are weirded out by that, like you need to examine your relationship with your dad. And I was like, no, I think that is weird. Like I don't think you should do that. And so Megan also agreed, right? And then I was like, I think there are some people, like we did not grow up in naked houses. Like there are some people that like quite literally like their family, like as kids, they like run around naked and like their parents are like not naked, but like, I don't know. I just feel like there are people that have more naked houses and they're like desensitized to bodies, which is fine. But that's where I feel like this question lies. And honestly, like, if you're wearing a shirt and no bra, like, I don't really care about that. Like, I feel like at this point, wouldn't you have already done that? Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like if your house or if your name is on the title to that house,
you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
It's weird that her husband, like, their kids are obviously.
It was also like because
grown.
I read that too, and like some of the context of it was like she was like in her room still without having interacted with the kids at all, and she's like cleaning up.
You're yelling at me. I just got up and started cleaning the bathroom, and now you're yelling at me about how I'm doing it.
So I feel like do what you want.
Do what you want. But naked culture, it's a thing.
Okay, who should ride in the front seat of a car while traveling, a parent or a spouse? And I'm kind of coming at this like I'm assuming that it's either like an elderly parent or a spouse, because in my mind that's what it has to be.
The elderly parent gets to ride up front.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is like grandma will so often be like,
grandma doesn't
I'll
care.
ride in the back seat. I'm kind of like, I would prefer like they should get up front first if they want that.
But like,
if
let them do what they want.
If they don't care, if they'd rather just like be in the back, then like let them do what they want. They're the one who gets to choose.
I feel like as you should just prioritize the elder person's comfort, whether that's front or back seat. That can be up to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah. What? Is there any disagreement or?
If getting in and out of the backseat is harder for one of them, they should get the front seat. Whoever has the easiest time physically getting into and out of whatever seat they're sitting in should use that seat.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
For
but I understand what they're saying.
Does anyone use their broiler on their oven?
I feel like I've only ever tried to use the broiler when we've made like shepherd's pie and we're trying to like
and it never works quite right. Yeah, like we must be doing it wrong. And we're trying to get like the burnt top of the potatoes. We're like, oh, the broiler, like that's what that's for, isn't it? I actually don't know if that's what it's for.
I think I feel like for it to be effective, like you really have to get it like right next to it, which I'm not re-racking my stuff to do that just for that. So I personally, I've used it so few times.
Yeah, it seems like most people are saying they don't use it. Someone says once a week at least. Yes, mostly for nachos. To brown the cheese on pizzas, garlic bread, browning skin on turkey. I use it to crisp up food before serving. It adds a nice char. I also have a meatball recipe that uses the broiler exclusively.
Oh.
Grilled quite a few steaks under the broiler.
Toss some shrimp on the Barbie.
We just don't have, I think, the recipes that call for... We don't make the recipes that call for use of a broiler. And I probably won't.
Okay. Is discussing hypothetical children on a first date normal or is it a red flag? Imagine you're on a first date with someone. They not once but twice make a comment starting with, when we have kids, XYZ. Okay, that's a little different. While the comments were made lightheartedly, it does not appear they were made in jest. Is this considered a red flag? The person seems normal enough otherwise.
I need more context to like how they were saying it. I personally, like when you first start dating someone, like I feel like you don't mesh your hypotheticals with them until like
it could be a hypothetical for you.
You know? Like, oh, like my kids, blah, blah, blah. Like when I have kids, blah, blah, blah. And you don't like...
There could be like very few instances where it's like if things were going really well and like you can kind of tell they have a joking personality, then like maybe I could see
like maybe it was a joke
where it'd be like it's a joke, but they're kind of like, let's say they are talking about their own hypothetical children and being serious in that sense. But maybe like you're chatting, kind of going back and forth, bantering, like, oh well, our kids will be like, that's a joke. It could be a joke.
So if it was a joke, that's fine. If they were like being serious, I don't think it's a red flag. I would just be like weirded out.
I'd be like, just tread a little bit slower.
Like, it's a little bit too fast. Tell me about your hypothetical kids, and like I'll tell you about like my hypothetical kids,
and we'll see if they're the same.
And maybe they're the same kids. We don't know. We don't know yet. Yeah, I would say that's kind of weird, but not a red flag.
If everything else was going swimmingly, I would
at least they deserve like a second date or something. You can dissect further. Would you ever date someone who has a completely different political ideology than you, or would that be a deal breaker?
Completely different. It's a deal breaker.
I agree.
I personally don't even match with people who are conservative on Hinge just because I lean more liberal. I'm technically an independent, but like I just in my mind have this thought of like how conversations would go with someone who maybe leans more conservative, and I feel like I myself would get along better with someone who is at the very least putting that they're moderate on Hinge, which like in the state of Iowa is, I know they're conservative, but they're probably trying to
up their matches
maybe, but I'm desperate sometimes. So
yeah,
moderate and below. Is that the right?
Moderate and left. It's not an up and down spectrum. It's more of a right and left. I agree. I do think like obviously other relationships in your life, family, friends, whoever, I think there's more leeway with like accepting different political backgrounds.
You can't pick your family. Yeah. Okay.
And like even your friends, like I do think I'm willing to accept more leeway on like what my friends believe, but like my partner, I need that to be relatively similar because like
you're assuming
I'm having like a life, family, kids with them, like I need us to be on the same page for
I don't want to force someone to be on a page they're not on. That's the thing. Is like I don't want to have to make you think these things. I just want you to think these things in a similar way that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to force anyone to do anything.
Right. And I just feel like, obviously, like, my friends, they don't have to raise my kids with me. They don't, like, if they have different thoughts on how I should be doing something with my kids, that's fine. It doesn't matter to them. If my husband has different thoughts on what we should be doing with our kids, that's kind of a problem. Or, like, just other, like, how you raise them, how you want their worldview. Like, they and you are shaping your kids' worldview. I think it'd be difficult if it would clash. And they're like, well, dad's telling me one thing and mom's telling me the other, and now I'm confused. So.
And then obviously as they grow up, like, they can make their own decisions and grow into the world however they see fit.
But that would be nearly impossible, I think, for me.
One moment. What time do you and others in your country usually open presents on Christmas? I'm trying to make a logical timeline / time frame for Santa to deliver presents, so I'm looking for the time zone, and date for when people normally open presents in different countries.
Wow.
Well, I can only speak to the central time zone in the U.S.
I mean, it's also different for us because we have, like, a lot of opportunities to open presents. So
let's talk about when we were younger and we were opening Santa's presents.
It was Christmas morning, bright and early.
Whenever we woke up. We never had an alarm set for any time. Like, our parents just let us wake up whenever we woke up. And I don't really remember when we woke up. Probably in, like, the 7 to 8 o'clock range is my guess. And as soon as we woke up, downstairs to open the presents.
Everyone come by the tree. We're opening presents.
And then usually it would be later that day. We would go to our grandparents' house. We would do presents at their house in the evening. As someone with divorced parents, we also, like, Santa made an early stop for us, typically the night before on Christmas Eve. How kind of him. House. And so that's when you typically open up presents at his house. And yeah, now we do still go to both of our parents' houses to open presents, but it's much less structured.
Yeah, like midday on Christmas Eve at our dad's house, we, like, do lunch. We still usually do our mom's Christmas morning.
Yeah, I'd say we kind of kept that going, but it's like we get there later because, like, I want to sleep in a little bit. I'll get there at, like, 10. It'll be fine.
And then we go to, like, our grandma's house after that and open stuff. I mean, like, we have, like, whole, like, dinner. Like, presents are, like, the last thing we do there. Yeah. Okay. Next one that I have is, does a guy with infinite $10 bills have more money than a guy with infinite $5 bills?
That's interesting.
I would say no.
Thought question. I mean, logically, it's no. But it's kind of, like, interesting.
You like that one?
Yeah. Because they could have the same number of infinity, but it's also, like, 10 to the 5.
Though, you know?
I know.
Someone said they both have the same amount. $10 guy is just able to get to desired amounts faster.
There you go. Why does my brain think that sandwiches cut into triangles are bigger than sandwiches?
And I had a theory.
Oh, sorry. I stole it. Go ahead.
No, you can say it.
I don't know that I have a theory. I just was kind of like, I have a preference for sandwiches cut into triangles versus cut into squares.
No, my theory.
Do you feel like it's because of, like, width? Like, there's, like, a longest side of the triangle.
If it's cut into squares, then each, like, the longest length of any sandwich square is half the length of the bread. I'm like, what am I trying to say?
Width, length, what is the word?
I'm like, what math words am I trying to pull out? Versus if you cut it into triangles, then you have, like, one length is the full slice of bread 4 times.
Yeah.
And so, like, you forget, like, you're like, well, screw the triangle. Like, this is just bigger because I see longer side, therefore it's bigger. That's my theory.
Because even though it's fewer sides, they're all individually longer than any of the sides would be on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, like, there'd be one full length, 2 full lengths on a rectangle.
Yeah.
But nonetheless. Okay. Do you have another one? Because I guess.
Okay. Next one I have. Why can't Americans walk anywhere? And they have, like, a whole long thing, so I'll decide.
I just saw someone walking on the highway, and this made me, like, I was just like, this is so not meant for walking for you.
Someone said this is totally silly and trivial, but here we go. I'm a secondary school student in the UK, and recently we got some American exchange students who were in our school for a few weeks. Obviously, I was excited because I think meeting people from other countries is cool, but after bombarding them with questions about the food in the schools and the other American stuff, we came to one weird issue. I wanted to show them around town. It's not the most exciting place, but it's kind of picturesque, so I thought they would like it. It's a fairly hilly small town in a more rural area than most of the UK. They seemed really enthusiastic about the views and other little British things like the old pubs, which was cute, and I appreciated it, but OMG, these people can't walk anywhere. I know my town is hilly and muddy compared to like Wisconsin or New Jersey or wherever weird flat place they're from, but after literally 15 minutes, they were all exhausted and wanting to stop for drinks and a break, and saying they, quote, should have worn hiking boots. Like, come on, it's a 15-minute walk in 15 degrees Celsius temperature. It shouldn't have been that hard. I'll pause there, because that's kind of all that we need. I mean, I do think, based off what you're saying, most Americans could probably tolerate this well. But just like context for America in general, America is not nearly as walkable as Europe. Because it's
especially
newer.
in suburbia. Like, good luck.
Like, Europe is older, and 90% of the countries were like well developed and established before like roadways and transportation. Therefore, people were mostly walking everywhere, and like cities were made to be walkable. Versus as the US got more developed with roadways and stuff in mind, then like roads and cars with priority, and people weren't walking, and it's not nearly as possible to walk.
Love to see a city planner on TikTok though. Being like, let's make this walkable. Because it's what the people desire. It's just not what we have
with our neighborhood right now. Like, we live in a nice area. Like, it's really not far to get anywhere, but like we can't walk anywhere.
Right.
Like, I can take Vegas on a walk
to walk places,
but like I can't think of like our grocery store is not that far. I would not walk to it.
Yeah. It's just we don't live a life like that.
So blame American suburbia and city planning and cars.
My last one is it selfish for me to refuse to have kids because I want freedom?
Any comments or other thoughts?
Oh God, I just X out of it.
I think you're entitled to do whatever you want. I don't think it's like you're not obligated to have children, so why would it be selfish for you to not have them?
Yeah. I feel like the older I've got, I'm kind of like at a stage in my life where I'm like, I think I want kids. I'm like pretty sure I want kids, but like I'll be the first to say like I have never been like what's the word people use? I've never had baby fever ever in my life. If anything, I see things where I'm more inclined to be like, oh my God, I'm like I would have kids less now. But then I think about like down the line, like later on in my life, that would be something that I feel like I would want to have. Like, you know, I obviously grew up with a family and siblings, and I think that'd be a fun dynamic to have when I'm older. But it's hard to like cross that barrier, even though I have seen like it's kind of nice. I saw someone on TikTok who like became a mom and was kind of like making a video for any and all women who like haven't had quote unquote baby fever or like this super strong desire to like become a mother.
We've also talked to our mother, and she said she never really felt like baby fever or like she was like super like into kids and babies. Like, you know, they're like, I'm not into women and girls like that, where it's like they see a baby and they're like, give it to me. Mm-hmm. No, I don't need to see your baby.
To be honest,
or like when people are like, do you want to hold him? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, not really, but like I guess. So I need to hold him.
So that helps give me a little bit of comfort, because like some people are kind of like, if you don't want kids, like, or like some people I feel like have like an approach of like, if you're not like super excited to have kids, then like don't have kids, and that kind of makes me feel bad in a way, because like I'm not super gung-ho about wanting kids, but I feel like I want kids.
I feel like that's common.
Anyways, back to like the prompt of like, is it selfish to not have kids because you want to maintain freedom of like your lifestyle? Absolutely not, because like inherently you're going to have more freedom if you don't have kids.
Yes to that, but then also like if your freedom is like the only thing that you're wanting to maintain and that's preventing you from having kids, like I think it's worth noting that like kids don't ruin your life, and like you should. A lot of people make who you are,
right.
So
I'm cutting you off.
So if that's like your only reason for not having kids, explore the ways to like talk to people that have kids and like see how they've maintained their identity, their independence. This is bleeding into a topic that we have coming up that we want to do with Haley.
We keep getting really bad at scheduling.
But if you guys want this episode, we have an idea for recording an episode with Haley about maintaining her identity as like a wife and a mother, but like being herself still. So kind of a, we don't know if that's going to be the next one, but you know,
it's been like we've been pushing it off because we keep forgetting to like say, oh, come over so we can record the podcast.
Yeah. So that's all we have because the sandwich one was the last one that I had, and you stole that one from me.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, then like the video on YouTube, I guess.
Or you can subscribe on any podcast platform. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel. Hopefully the mic stands worked wonders for you guys and we weren't finagling with all the cords. But yeah, that's it for this week, and we'll talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.